So we are going to rebuild a 4150 Holley carburetor. I'm telling you guys, it's not that complicated. It's not that bad. These are just the basic things that I go over to set this up, and then we'll put it on an actual running motor and then tune it in that way. So this is what I picked up. I got a Holley trick kit, which is just basically a rebuild kit. This is Holley royalty. This is a list number 4555. This only came on the 1970 LT1 350s, or it was going to be like a 69 zipper. Hit me down in the comments and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the Camaros had a different list number. Maybe there was a letter, but this is a well sought after carburetor. I mean, this thing, you know, completely zinc dichromated, brought back to perfect. You're probably looking at $1,500, $2,000, somewhere in there. I mean, some people will pay that because they want these so bad. So even one that's in this kind of shape, this is still probably a $1,000 carburetor, if not a little bit more. But this is staying on its original 70 LT1 Corvette motor. Now, this carburetor, the choke, was taken out decades ago and everything that went along with it. But to rebuild it and tune it and all that, guys, it's all pretty much the same. Same thing with the double pumper. It's pretty much going to be pretty close to all the same, except for the fact that we have a vacuum setup on this one, 780 vacuum secondary. So let's start tearing it apart. Let's start getting into the kit. Let's rock and roll, baby. All right, we are down to bare bones here. So main body, squirter, vacuum secondary, rear metering block, jets, power valve, front metering block, jets, power valve. He actually put a 50cc accelerator pump in it. Idle mixture screws, front bowl, back bowl, base plate. This is how far down I want you to get it torn down. How far down I want to get it torn down? Exactly. All the gaskets are over there. We're going to get fresh gaskets and everything in here. But one of the biggest things is cleaning this thing. So what do I mean by cleaning it? Do I mean just like knocking it with a bunch of lacquer thinner and hitting it with a scrub brush and call it a day? No. What I'm talking about is, as you can see on here, how it's just corroded and all that. What I want to do is get my carb cleaner, and I'm going to go through literally every single little orifice that is inside here, inside the jets, everything. I want a good steady stream coming out. If all of a sudden you're inside here in these little cavities through there and it's not coming out another end, well, guess what? That means it's gummed up. So there are other things besides carb cleaner that'll be a little more aggressive if you do have a gummed up problem. But sometimes you might have to use like a really small drill bit. I might have to on this, never know. But you might be able to have to use a little small drill bit to kind of clean something out, and then all of a sudden, poof, it starts working. But you want to go through every single thing. Just like on your base plate through here, we want to make sure that our air bleeds, our idle bleeds, our high-speed bleeds, everything is clear. Now, that's what I mean by so many times that stuff will gum up. The fuel will just gum a lot of this crap up. So you want to go through everything and fully clean it. Now, if it's nasty and dirty like this thing, I mean, this has seen better days. We're gonna go through and we're gonna actually clean the outside as well. But that right there is like first step. Having carburetor problems is that, okay, how long has it been sitting? Have you had it sitting for a long time with like pump gas in it, which is gonna gum it up? You gotta think about that stuff. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna start cleaning this up, and then we're gonna start assembling. We are moving on to the main body. Now, I already put the squirter back in this thing. Now that I got it back in, I've already cleaned the squirter itself, but I want to make sure that there's no blockage in any way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some carb cleaner and I'm going to blow it right inside that little hole right there. That is where your squirter is going to draw from. And from that, you should see two even nice streams. If you don't, then you got some sort of blockage in there. Check it over. But we're already good on that. Now, on a vacuum secondary setup, just to show you guys this. If you want to know that the diaphragm is still okay, do I need to disassemble it? Do I got to worry about things? And you can change springs of when it comes in and all that, but I'm not worried about that right now, you guys. You see that little hole right there? Well, that one is where that diaphragm is going to be working. So what I want to do is I want to plug that, and I want to feel if there's still pressure inside the system, that I don't feel like leaking out, like there'd be a rip or a tear perhaps in the diaphragm. I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything binding, any problems in that sense. And you can hear that we don't seem to have a problem. So we are going to put this back onto the main body. First things first is we're going to get our carburetor gasket, and we're going to put the lower plate together itself. Okie doke. So we got the base plate on, main body's on, the vacuum secondary diaphragm is on. That's all pretty straightforward. All of this is pretty much done, ready to rock and roll. Guys, I know this is the super easy part. Now, the metering block and bowls and accelerator pumps, you know, power valves, all that stuff, this is where people start getting a little confused, and it's really not that bad. I'm going to give you a couple of little easy tips here that some people do screw this up, and this will affect it. Your power valve here, a lot of times racers, what we'll do is we'll just plug these right off because most of the time we don't create enough vacuum. What do you mean? On the side of this, you'll see 6.5. What's that mean? At 6.5 inches of vacuum, this is going to open up. And when this opens up, this is going to allow more fuel. So it's going to add fuel on top of the jet that you already have. That's why when we take these out and we plug them, we'll end up automatically going up, say, 6 jet sizes. Some people go 10. But we might go up, say, 6 to 10 jet sizes on that because you're making up for this opening and closing. But we don't create enough vacuum. We might not hit that 6.5 inches of vacuum to even make this work. So at that point, we're okay. We're going to put 6.5s in it, and they come in the rebuild kit, and we're okay there. Now, I'm going to give you this one. A lot of times, people will toss the gasket on like so. They'll stick it on to the metering block and then tighten the thing down most of the time pretty damn tight. You don't have to go tight for one, and two, if you take this gasket, and this gasket is so easy to slide around, and let's just say, argument's sake, it does one of those, that it slides into the side over here and you're not paying attention, and you squish that sucker down. Guys have caught this so many times. You lose the point of the power valve. So it's like, man, I'm running into problems. It's lean. It's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So take that gasket off. And most of these will have a little lip right there. You can see it. Take it, stick it on that lip. Now, take your power valve, drop it down, and just screw her on. Now, at that point, you're going to just tighten it up. Make sure that you're not screwing up and it's going one way or the other, but that's what that ridge is for. So it stays nice right on that ridge, boom, boom, boom. And guys, we are not reefing these things down. Right there it's touching. That's it. That's all I'm giving it. Maybe about 1/8 to 1/4 more turn. You don't got to go nuts with these guys, okay? Your jets, everything is going to go in back the same way. Power valve is one thing I wanted to touch base on because these are some of the things that can screw you up when you're trying to then tune this thing on your motor or you're driving down the street and things like that. Power valve is one of those things that can screw you up. Now onto the bowls and the needle and seats. When you put your accelerator pump in, and again, this will come with new accelerator pumps. Now at this point, once you put this in, tighten everything down. What you also want to make sure is that little guy right there, that is going to be where your accelerator pump fills up and then shoots the gas through, comes out of the squirter. You want to be able to hear a push of air, like a whoosh, whoosh. You want to hear a push of air. Sometimes things will shift around and it won't happen. You're going to check this again once you actually put the bowl onto the carburetor, and you're going to check this again to hear if you can get it out of the squirter here. Then you know everything's working smooth. Now on your needle and seats, these are the ones that I pulled out of it, and you can see that rubber gasket around there is just corroded and nasty. Now the rest of this might be working properly, but if that gasket starts to get nasty and corroded, you're just going to start to blow gas out of these tubes up here, and it's just going to overpower it. The fuel pump or whatever you have on there, electric or mechanical, is just going to overpower it, and you're just going to constantly be just throwing gas. So nice thing with this kit, it comes with a set of 110s, so we are going to be putting those bad boys in there. Now when you set this up, you get everything put in, you know, just grab your nut, get everything put in. How you're going to do this for your basic setup is all you're going to do is just run the float parallel. As long as we get it to where it's parallel. See how it's tipping down, and right about there would be parallel. Just start right there. Some people, you know, we can do a 5/16 drill bit, we can this, we can this. If you get parallel, it's gonna get you pretty close. So once you're actually, you know, running it on a test stand, or you're putting it on in your car and just trying to get it to fire off, this will get you pretty close, and then you just finish up. We'll get into that later on. So that is where I'm good right there. Now, throw my gaskets on, and just match your gaskets up to that little variety pack that comes in the kit. And then we're just gonna lock that bad boy down right there. And then all you're gonna do, repeat the same process on the other bowl. All right, so we got this bad boy all together. We're ready to rock and roll, right? No, we got a couple of things we need to double check before it goes on to the engine. First things first, let's double check, push down your accelerator pump, and you should hear that little hiss coming out of your squirter. And you should feel no back pressure on this accelerator pump. All of a sudden you're pushing it, it's like, man, it just isn't working. You have something screwed up. Either you tighten the bowls down too tight, you have a gasket that's kind of in the way. Take things apart, double check it. Okay, now that we know that's good, idle mixture screws. Bury them in till they stop, come out about a turn to a turn and a half. That is gonna put you into the should run at this phase, okay? It should be a little bit to the left of it, or a little bit to the right of it, but that should put you in a happy medium. All of this is gonna put you in a happy medium. Now, accelerator pump adjustment. This is one thing that really has helped me out and has helped a lot of people out, where it's like, man, I get this hiccup in the beginning, and I get this problem, and it's always like kind of sort of in the beginning, and I get these little problems. You only have 30 cc's worth of fuel that's inside here that gets shot in to start things moving, right? Okay, so many times people will either not adjust these at all, or have them where they're actually tight against the accelerator pump arm, which means you're already pushing gas down the carburetor the moment your foot hits it. You don't want that. You want to actually break the blades open a little bit and then start to have fuel. So what I do is I'll put a little bit of slop in this. I'll push the accelerator pump against the diaphragm, not jamming it up like I was just checking this, but I'll take the slop out, and I want this to kind of just barely drop onto it. I want it to wiggle, and I want it to barely be able to pick it up, and it just barely go and drop. If I had to say 15 thousandths, like a pack of matches is what you want to slide inside there, like 15 thousandths. We want to crack those blades open and then get things going. Now, also another thing that you can do is, some of these, like this one, will have a little Allen bolt right here that you can actually crack open the rear blades a little bit. And what that'll help you do is you can open these up and actually close these off, and you'll be able to retain your idle circuit a little bit longer. Sometimes we open the idle up so far that the idle circuit just like disappears. You know, you start giving it gas and you're getting into your primary circuit. Open up the rears, just crack the blades loose. You know what I mean? You don't want them sealed tight, because then you're fighting that breaking them loose. So crack the blades loose a little bit, just open them up, and you're probably going to end up backing off your idle here on the fronts, on the primaries, on the secondaries is what we're just cracking open. Now, with all of that being said and done, we are ready to put this sucker on a running engine and start tuning the rest of it and see how snappy we can get it. So let's go put this on that LT1 350. Now, one thing I forgot to give you guys was, when you're putting your bowls on and you want to make sure that your needle and seat is either failing or it's working, all you're going to do, this is just a spare bowl here. All you're going to do is you're going to let it fall down. It's your inlet. I don't feel like doing one that already has gas in it, blowing it. You can hear how the air comes out. Take it and tip it. Now the float's actually getting activated, just like the gas would bring it up and supposedly stop the needle and seat, right? Now blow into it. Nothing. The moment I flip it over and open it up, there you go. That way you know your needle and seat is working. Now you can do this also once you put everything together to make sure everything was seated correctly and it's working. If you're having a problem with that and you take it and you blow into it when it's flipped over and your float's up, you have a problem with your needle and seat. It's failing, and you're going to be sitting there puking fuel out of those booster tubes. Here is in the order that I'm just going to have you do it. This is how I do it. You can follow suit, because this is how it makes sense to me. We're going to get this bad boy on. Then at that point, we're going to get the thing running. Set your idle so you can walk around the thing and be able to tune on it. Duh, that's pretty straightforward right there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to adjusting the floats. Now, When you adjust the floats, we want to pop those off, pop the screws out, and we want to have the fuel right at the bottom of the line. We want it to either just be coming out of the hole just barely. I mean, like just because of the cam and it's like shaking a little bit, that it's kind of like, and it's just trickling out a little bit. Once you get that established, now we're going to move on to the next thing. That is going to be idle mixture screws. Now, keep in mind, we've already adjusted the accelerator pump a good starting point, all right? Now, we're going to get into the accelerator pump again in just a second. Now, idle mixture screws. Right now, I'm at 1 turn. What we're going to do is we're just going to go out a half a turn each time and just check how snappy the throttle is. And you're going to find that sweet spot. Now, there are issues where if all of a sudden you're out like 2-3 turns, well, 2 turns, you're all right. You start getting beyond 3, you're at that point where inside here, inside right next to your squirters, there is what is an idle speed bleed or an idle bleed. That is going to start having a problem. Then that means that you're fattening it up so much that that is incorrect, that we actually have to either shrink it or we need to enlarge it. And if you shrink it, it's going to create more fuel, which you're trying to create more fuel the more turns you're pulling out. If you have an old carburetor like this, you're kind of, I hate to say screwed, but you're kind of screwed in that sense to where you have to do the adjustments in your idle mixture screws. Now, once we get that established, and you might get to a point where it's like, man, it's crisp, but there's still just a little hiccup. That's where we get into the accelerator pump. So then we might put a little bit more slop into it where we get a little bit more air. We might be getting too much fuel, and it's just kind of and then coming into play. Then we're going to adjust the accelerator pump. Then at that point, we're going to get this thing nice and crisp. Just whack, 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 and it's going to be nice and snappy. Now, at that point, you're good to go. You're done in the driveway, on a test stand, whatever. Now you can go out, and it's not going to leave you stranded. There still might be 1 or 2 things that you're going to have to do for adjustments once it's out and you're under a load and it's getting off the idle circuit into your primaries and so on and so forth. That's a whole different video for a different time. But this is to get you up, get you running, get it nice and snappy or the best you can sitting like this. Then we can take it out and start hammering on it. So I'm going to show you what it is of bad to nice and snappy and good, okay? So this, my friends, is bad. And if that was bad, well then this is what we're shooting for, right? So at that point, I hope you liked it. I hope this helped you guys out in some of your tuning. And if you want to see the full lowdown on this motor, plus you want to hear it without those Walker Dynamax mufflers and how good's this thing actually sound, well, you're going to end up having to check out the video that's going to be on this coming out Tuesday. And then we're going to give you everything. I will give you the full lowdown of the motor, every piece that's in it. And maybe you're going to want to copycat the build. You never know. But I'll give you all that information and more. But make sure you subscribe. And then that, my friends, is going to tell you when this comes out on Tuesday. Hope to see you there. Till we meet again, my friends. See ya.